because that guy doesn't know what the hell he's doing. What's happening, everybody? This is the Philly Experience Podcast alongside Chris Thacker, Tanner Martin, Tyre Hood. I'm your host, Max James. It's great to be with everybody on this rainy Monday afternoon. Coming off a week in which the Sixers go 2-2, lose to the Miami Heat on the road, lose to the Milwaukee Bucks on the road. They come back home. They beat the Memphis Grizzlies and the Chicago Bulls back-to-back games. Furkan Korkmaz, again, like we talked about, bright spot in the last two games, dropping 32 points back-to-back.
Are you kidding me?
Really impressive performance from him off the bench both games. And we're going to have a dominated show today about the Sixers talk here. Probably try to touch on some Phillies spring training coming up. And Chris, maybe we'll dive into the Flyers at the end of the show because we haven't talked about them.
Charitable.
I'm interested now. The season's,
That's not true.
over. No, it's over, half over now. So getting to the end, almost sort of. So playoff pushes on in the second half of their season.
A big 2 weeks coming up.
So let's dive into the Sixers to start with the show. Lots of back and forth, drama going on in the media. A lot of people are either with or against this team. A lot of question marks surrounding the two stars, Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. So far, so good in the last two games. I know the road trip was horrible, but again, it's happened all season. We haven't played well on the road. It's not just this one lone, stretch of games. And then we bounce back against two, Memphis kind of middle of the pack, and then, the Bulls are,
The Bulls are the Bulls.
Yeah, one of the weaker teams in the league. But the good news is we're really dominant at home, 24-2 now after last night's win over the Bulls. So my question to start the show is, how much do you believe in this team going down the stretch? We all know they're going to make the playoffs, right? Now, where do you see us falling? Because there's a lot of, up in the air talk about, are we going to be the 5 seed? Are we going to be the 6 seed? Where do you think we're going to fall? We're going to have home court advantage, which is another key factor because if we can get a top 4 seed, we would have the home court advantage in the first round. And we all know how dominant we are at home.
Here lies the underlying issue is the fact that here's the reason why everybody is so frustrated about this team. It's the simple fact that this team is not playing up to everybody's expectations. All right. We all had the expectations coming into the season that we were supposed to be on par with the Bucks and the Celtics. Where the Bucks and the Celtics are. Bucks are first seed. I believe the Celtics are the third seed, if I'm not mistaken.
Celtics are the third seed, and Miami is the 4th seed.
So we were supposed to be up there at least around the number 2, number 1 slot. But instead, we're at the 6th seed. Mm-hmm. We're scrambling.
We're actually, with last night's victory, we leapfrogged the Indiana Pacers, so now the 5 seed.
Wow.
Pacers are 31 and
Hey, it's a step in the right direction. At least we're not going backwards.
Yeah. Wow. Once again, wow.
I think we're going to finish ahead of the Pacers. I think we have a better team than the Pacers. But the simple fact that Miami, who has really good young shooters, and they have a star to surround them in Jimmy Butler, and also with the Boston Celtics, who for some reason, I know we've beaten them 3 out of 4 times this year, but for some reason they're just winning consistently. And not surprising because, they're the Celtics, but at the same time, 37 wins for them with a team that has battled injuries all season long. Kind of like we had a little bit, too, with the Embiid injury. But I wanted to say this one update real fast before we keep going. Embiid, at practice today, took his brace off. He was finally practicing for the first time without the brace on his left hand. That has cost him to, not be himself, not making excuses here, but it's kind of difficult to play defense, block shots, hand check.
It's about damn time.
Hand check defenders and things of that nature. He's kind of babying it a little bit on the court. And last night, he actually made a gesture to the crowd, telling them to be quiet in a nice way.
Yeah.
After hitting a 3 from deep downtown.
Okay. Embiid. Yeah.
You big dummy.
Not the smartest thing to incite the fans. Just putting that out there. I figured you've been here long enough that you really shouldn't do that. You know what? As a matter of fact, maybe Charles Barkley was right. You know what? Maybe he was right. Maybe he was right what he said on TNT. Hold on. Maybe he was onto something.
I picked the Sixers to get to the finals. I think they are the softest, mentally weakest team that had a bunch of talent. They are the Cleveland Browns of the NBA.
Damn.
They got a lot of talent.
The Cleveland Browns of the NBA, T. Do you agree with that statement?
Oof. It's hard not to argue against it. It really is because okay, let's compare it to the Cleveland Browns. We all sat here in August and said that the Cleveland Browns were a team on the uprise in the AFC. They got all this talent. They had Odell Beckham Jr. They had Jarvis Landry. You had Johnny Manziel.
People were saying Super Bowl.
Did I just say Johnny Manziel? Something's the matter with me. Yeah. Oh, God. Anyway.
Baker Mayfield, who you're referring to there.
Thank you. It's been a long day. Yes, they have Baker Mayfield. They had all these things supposedly going for them, and what happens? They turn it into a mediocre season of low expectation. You guys seen how the season turned out.
They didn't live up to their
the
hype.
expectations, exactly. And it's the same thing that's going on with the Sixers now. They're not living up to their expectations. They're not playing up to the potential that we've seen them having. Ben Simmons was supposed to have a jump forward in his progression on offense, but instead now we still have the same issue where he brings the ball to the court, and at the 3-point line, everybody else is in the damn paint, even his defender, and he's just standing there looking for a pass. That's a problem.
Here's one thing, T. If you're bringing the ball to the court, you're not just going to pull up from 3 and just shoot it with 20 seconds left on the shot
But if your
clock.
opposition is at the free throw line, you've got to be stupid not to pull it.
It is a question that we all want answers to. Why isn't he shooting the ball? But I think one thing I will say, and Tanner, I don't know if you agree with this, I want to ask you. Look up being at the game and watching how Brett Brown coaches from the sidelines and calls out the plays and seeing how they move in person, I think is so much different than watching on TV. And I didn't realize that because last night was my first game of the season I went to. And, I'm sitting here on the show every week and I'm saying, we need to do this better. We need to do that better. But the fact of the matter is, I think I'm looking at, who comes up to the scorers table, what time, like how he's kind of rotating these players, like Matisse Thybulle's coming in here, okay. Korkmaz, okay, he's coming around the 3-minute mark. How is he staggering the minutes between Ben Simmons? Now, Ben usually plays almost all the first quarter. We see Embiid sit. That's one thing I noticed last night. Embiid goes to the bench, and another big like Norvel Pelle doesn't come out. All right, we go Korkmaz and Thybulle come out off the bench. So we kind of have Horford be the center, and then Simmons is just out there doing his thing. And when Embiid leaves the first like 9 minutes, and I really do think, in my opinion, if we not saying we're going to sit a star or anything like that, but if I feel like we play kind of like mediocre back and forth, not like a little lackadaisical in the first 9 minutes, but when the first 6 minutes, I should say, when Embiid goes to the bench, but when Simmons is out there and takes over, there's just so much more energy. And I feel like the close out the first quarter, like last night, for example, we go on that big run, we're up like 38-25.
Right.
Scored 38 points in the first quarter.
Right.
And one thing I did notice, I was at the Memphis game, and the first quarter, you could just see how lazy this team was. But then when the young guys come in, those are the guys that have the most heart on that court because they have something to show still. And those were the guys that were playing the best when I was at the Grizzlies game. And you could really tell. Thybulle.
I want winners.
Yeah, he had a lot of energy, and he plays with his whole heart the whole game.
Thybulle definitely does play well. They also brought in Greg Robinson in the third last night.
That's irritating.
12 minutes, he shot 5 of 6 from the field and chipped in 10 points. I mean, granted, like 4 of his shots were dunks or little mini layups inside,
but still, all that contributes to the energy of the team, and that's one of the things I'm talking about. Like your starters, your stars, the ones who are supposed to be carrying this team, they're not doing their job. We're having to rely on the younger guys, the bench guys, to provide that spark. That shouldn't have to happen. Right. Maybe Jimmy Butler was on to something.
And one thing I did notice, and this also brings up another question later on, is during the first half of that Memphis game, I don't have the stats right now, but Ben Simmons missed at least 3 or 4 easy layups, and there was a few passes from Joel to Simmons that didn't connect. It didn't look like they had the chemistry.
We know it's hard.
And
Simmons, Tanner, you're right. Simmons actually, and then last night goes for a triple-double. 19 points, 10 boards, 10 assists. And I'm sitting there watching the game in person. I'm like, man, there really is no reason why Embiid and Simmons could not play together. Like I'm sitting here on the show the previous couple weeks. I'm like, oh, we got to trade one of them. And I think it's because I'm listening to all the media and all these different TV shows and everything.
Yeah. And the media right now, or a few days ago, the question was, which one would you rather keep? Because these players apparently can't play with one another, which I disagree with.
Yeah, I disagree.
I completely disagree.
I disagree.
But there's a question, who would you rather keep and build the team around? And there was a poll on my Instagram page, and 58% said they would rather have Simmons on the team and build a team around him.
Wow. I chose Embiid.
That's not a sarcastic wow, by the way. Audience.
No, that's not.
T being serious.
That's a serious wow. I'm surprised at that. I'm surprised at that only because of the simple fact that, like I said, I think Ben Simmons can be one of the greatest NBA players to ever play this game, considering his size, speed, and what he can do with the ball in his hands. But once again, his Achilles heel is his refusal to hit that open jump shot. his refusal to take that open jump shot, whether that be in the mid range, whether that be 3-point range, it doesn't matter at this point. But just keep the defense honest.
Right.
Stop having your defender be all the way in the paint or all the way inside the 3-point line. Like, provide that threat. And that's the only reason why I say as of right now, if we were to say right now, I would build my team around Embiid because I know what I have in Embiid.
I agree. And Max, you're on the Simmons side, correct?
I am on the Ben Simmons
And
side.
Chris, what do you think?
I don't believe in Ben Simmons.
Okay.
So I'm going with Joel.
Joel Embiid. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's
a close one.
It is really close. It really is close. I just feel like Embiid right now, the way he's playing. I mean, I get it. I don't want to keep making excuses for him, but the hand,
Now,
just the lack of energy is ridiculous. Though,
I'll
in
say
my
that
opinion.
too,
Yep.
yeah, because Joel does seem more injury prone
Yeah.
than Ben Simmons.
True.
It's more irritating because last offseason he said he was going to be the healthiest player he can be, and he was going to get a trainer.
Apparently
and
he was
someone
gonna
to
be
help
in
him, a
shape.
nutrition.
He's going
Yeah.
to subtract 2 Chick-fil-A sandwiches a day.
Yeah, and then he comes back and he hasn't really been at full health.
He's the last guy. The one thing
bunch of
watching
lowlifes.
last night, he's the last guy down the floor every possession, and it's not just because he's inbounding the basketball.
No.
I mean, he's literally jogs down there. He doesn't run at full speed.
No.
He just doesn't. When he gets the ball in the post, I'm used to that killer instinct like we've seen in the past, and he'll back a guy down. And last night there really wasn't any good defenders. Cristiano Felicio and Luke Cornett were the 2 centers last night
Oh my
for
gosh.
Chicago. And I really didn't see one time where Embiid took them to school and just dominated and dunked over them like
Right.
we're used to seeing.
Right, exactly. Instead, it had to be Furkan Korkmaz who scored 34 points in the game. But at the same time, I kind of expected a Joel Embiid dominant type of night. Like, okay, you hit a 3 and you shush the crowd, but guess what? Yeah, we're still going to boo you because of the simple fact that we want more from you. You got to
Yeah.
understand. Listen, athletes, if you happen to be listening to this, you want to make it in the city of Philadelphia, doggone it, you better put your best foot forward. You better put your all into what you do because we put our all into what we do. We put our all into our paychecks. And when we take our paychecks, sometimes skipping bills to come see you, we expect the best product that you can provide. We don't want a half-ass product.
Right.
So that's why we boo, because we expect more from you. Joel Embiid, being in this city, should know that.
Right. Now Embiid did have a good game last night, statistically speaking. 8 of 17 from the field. Shot 1 of 3. Only took 3 3-pointers last night. He made one of them. He finished with 28 points and 12 rebounds
Which is impressive.
to go along with 5 assists. So, yeah,
But-
it is impressive.
But considering the fact that the opposition that you just
I agree.
described, he went up
It
against.
should have been. He needs to be more dominant. And I'm not sitting here saying I'm kind of on the side where I don't want to pick one of them anymore. I kind of just want this thing to work. Now, the one thing I will bring into question here is Brett Brown, because I think he's a really good coach. I really, really do believe in Brett Brown as a coach. But one person, and I don't remember who it was specifically, brought up this point to me that he's been an assistant coach his whole career, and that's kind of what his mentality is in the locker room, possibly, because he doesn't push. Not saying he doesn't push them. That's not the right word to use. But he doesn't get on them. He doesn't get on them when they're doing poorly. He's not going to yell or scream. He's kind of babies them. I'm not going to say it's almost like a father-son. They're all his son type relationship. I mean, I don't want to use that as an example, but I'm almost thinking he's not an aggressive enough coach sometimes to really.
Well, Max, can I ask you this? So, looking beyond Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, is there really anybody on this team that you look at and you see game changers? Al Horford, maybe.
Game changer.
Tobias Harris,
Not Al Horford.
maybe.
Not
Tobias
this year.
Harris went 9 of 17 against Memphis.
I don't see anybody on this team beyond Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, and I don't look at them and say, you're going to help win me a championship.
Listen,
I don't-
Tobias Harris and Al Horford are getting paid like game changers, but no, I don't think.
I don't
I'm not
s-
saying. I'm not gonna. I don't think the right word to use would be game changer.
No, not at all.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they
You
are.
understand what I'm saying to you?
I know, going back to the past is useless, but if you just add $400K to Tobias's contract, that's Jimmy Butler right there. Jimmy Butler. How many games did Jimmy Butler
I know.
by himself win last year?
I know it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. So it's a good yeah. T. Good segment right there. Way to go intro with that. It's nice.
I know.
I'm getting better at it.
I like it.
What's done is done. Nothing can be done about it. But I just feel like
We'll never know if
letting
Jimmy
Jimmy
Butler-
Butler walk.
Right.
I don't feel like that's it. And I know there's the whole thing about him and Joel
I
Embiid
know.
didn't get along, but winning cures everything.
We'll never know what the real. Did he want to be here? We don't know. Did he not? Did he just want to go to Miami?
It seemed
We
like
know.
it really embraced it here.
Well,
seemed like he
yeah,
took it
it's a shame,
here.
and we'll
Maybe
never
he
know.
put on an act. I don't know.
Tobias Harris, I'm not going to quit. I'm not. First of all, that's not a good word to use either. Quit. I'm not going to quit. Tobias Harris I'm not going to quit on this guy. All right. I mean, he's getting paid $180 million. We all know he's overpaid, but I feel like if he was the fourth guy, like kind of how he was last year, behind Butler and Simmons and Embiid,
Right.
he can flourish in that kind of role.
Yeah.
And I think that he can kind of create his own shot. And I think one thing I've seen a lot of him this year is take a bunch of tough 2-pointers. You know, he's not the best 3-point shooter.
And that's my thing. Like I don't remember when exactly I said that, but I said that was Tobias Harris's game from the beginning. You want to utilize him more as a mid-range shooter. Somebody
Get him those open looks.
Right. Like, okay, you're struggling from 3 and you need some points. Well, okay, you got Tobias Harris. Let's start utilizing him inside that 3-point line. Let's hook him up in the post, because for the most part, if he goes up against a small forward that's bigger than him, he can utilize his speed and his finishing at the rim. But if he goes up against somebody that's smaller than him, he can post him up and fade over top of him. Like, that's the thing with Tobias Harris. You can utilize him in a number of ways. The problem is I'm not seeing him being utilized the way at least I envision seeing him in this offense. And to your point, going back to coaching, I seriously think, like, I don't see this team going to the finals. So let's just scratch that right now.
Not at all.
We seriously need to look at coaching at this point. We need to look at Brett Brown and say to ourselves, is he really the coach that's going to take us over the top?
Don't get me wrong. I don't think he's doing a great job. But if you give a coach, hey, sculpt me something with this crap, it's still going to be crap.
But the problem is he's not being sculpted with crap. He's being sculpted with two potential all-stars.
Yeah,
They
true,
are
true.
Tobias Harris, who's the star, Al Horford, who's supposed to be better than what he is now, and you kind of sort of have a half-decent bench, but you're not. We
still have to see.
I think Max would disagree with you on
But
that.
we released Trey Burke recently. Why? We weren't utilizing him. Trey Burke probably had the most potential on our bench.
I would have kept Trey Burke over Neto. I'll tell you that right now.
Easily.
Yeah. Not that it's not going to make a difference. I mean, that's not going to be the difference between winning between one playoff round compared to another playoff round. You know, it's not going to make any difference. But I will say this: one thing I look at, the minutes of these players and starters. As football season ends here, I'm trying to get into like full speed ahead with the Sixers, and I'm trying to figure out why. You know, there has to be a reason why we're so bad on the road compared to home. There has to be a reason why we're only the 5th seed, and we can point to so many different things. But the minutes for these guys, as I look through the box scores here, are kind of relatively the same. They're all. I mean, Simmons plays the most minutes, hands down, of any player on the team. And then you have Embiid around 30, you have Horford, Harris around 30, and the fact that Jay Rich is working his way back from injury still, he's coming off the bench, so Shake Milton's been starting, and he kind of gets around 15 minutes per game. And Korkmaz has been like playing more minutes because one, he's playing better, but two, I guess Brett Brown just trusts him more, which we all should. I mean, I'm not saying Shake Milton is a great player, but that's just how Brett Brown's been doing it. He's been starting.
Right.
And I want to say this. Al Horford last night scored 0 points, and he takes 6 shots. 2 of them are from downtown. I know it's just one game, but for example, 2 games ago, he takes 17 shots against the Bucks on the road, like 17 shots compared to 6. Then you got Tobias Harris last night. He takes 9 shots in a win at home. He only takes 9, and then in a loss against Milwaukee, he takes 23 shots. So
that's ludicrous.
Simmons or Embiid, who usually takes the most shots on our team, he shoots 6 of 26 against the Bucks. Last night he goes 8 of 17. So I don't know if this is just how the game flow is, but I feel like when everybody kind of has their fair share of looks and shots, and it's more evenly distributed, it's not top heavy. Simmons, for example, against Milwaukee takes only 6 shots. Like Ben Simmons I know he doesn't shoot the ball, but he has to take more than 6 shots. He's one of your best players.
What did I fuss about in the series against the Raptors last season? About Ben Simmons and his lack of shots.
The fact that he doesn't shoot in period.
Not only that, but it was the amount of shots that he did shoot. The fact that he didn't shoot that many shots. So that's my thing. Like, he picks and chooses when he wants to get involved in this offense. And I'm glad that you brought that up, because I completely agree with you. I feel as though if this team is more balanced, if this team takes their equal amount of shots, I feel like this team can be dangerous. The dangerous team that we expected.
When I look at road compared to home, when I look at good teams compared to bad teams that we play, it's staggering where you look at Horford 2 games ago against Milwaukee, or 3 games ago now. Horford, Harris, and Embiid, right? We got 17 shots, 23 shots, and 26 shots. The rest of the team, Simmons 6 shots, Shake Milton 6 shots, Scott 3 shots, Shayok 3 shots, and Thibault 3 shots. I mean, it's all top heavy. And I feel like last night, for example, when Tobias shoots 5 of 9, you know, I mean, I just feel like when the ball is spread out, more evenly, and everybody kind of gets their own shots, and everybody's incorporated. Even guys like Thibault getting looks off the bench, and Korkmaz obviously getting looks off the bench. We play so much better, and I don't know if that's just because the home atmosphere or what. I mean, I guess the road is just giving us problems right now. Like all season long, it has been. But I feel like when you see these stats that we're all looking at, there has to be something behind it. There has to be something behind it. Hal Horford's played 835 career games. Mm-hmm. Last night was the first time in his career he didn't score a single point.
That's
and
a
we still
problem.
won. We still beat the Bulls pretty easily.
He gets paid way too much money to have 0 points. Too much money.
I'm trying to figure out. I'm just trying to figure things out here. I mean, I think it looks to me like when Horford doesn't take that many shots and he's not incorporated in the offense, not incorporated, but he doesn't have that big of a role in the offense, we win more basketball games. Tobias Harris not taking 23 shots like Embiid or Simmons probably should have closer to that. When he takes his 10 to 12 shots a game,
Right.
he's more efficient.
So you're just saying we're paying these guys this money to just be another body on the court?
I think we're definitely overpaying these guys. We all know that. Harris getting paid $180 million is absolutely ridiculous, and I think Al Horford getting paid $107 is even more ridiculous compared to the contributions he's given to this team. But I think, listen, the way the NBA works nowadays is if you don't give these guys the money, they won't come here. No, it's flat out like how it is. But I do think that looking beyond the money, because Tanner, that's actually a really good point. The money is kind of ridiculous. You don't want Al Horford not having a role in the offense. You don't want him taking 6 shots and getting paid $107 million. But I think in order for us to make a big run down the stretch here, that might have to be how it works. You might have to have Embiid take around 20 shots a game. You might have to have Simmons, in my opinion, take around 15 shots. Tobias maybe 12, and Horford maybe 8 to 10. And I'm not saying that's how it's going to work on a nightly basis. Everything's going to be different. But I tell you what, I don't care how many threes Korkmaz shoots. I mean, get him the 3-point looks, man, because he's knocking them down.
You know what? After all this, I'm looking forward to February 16th because that's the All-Star game, and I want to see how Embiid plays with a full court of stars, and how Simmons is a reserve, but how he plays surrounded by stars. And will Embiid play as lazy as he does, which is doubtful? Then he plays with the Sixers than on this All-Star team.
That's a good point.
And the effort that they both put forward.
I think so. I think with the additions of Robinson, who we've only seen a cup of coffee with so far, and Burks, who hasn't even played in a single game. But I think if I could just get a solid 6-minute spurt out of Embiid, just open the game, for example, before he goes to the bench, just give it your all-out effort, and I'll give you the break.
Coach.
We have Al Horford in there to play the backup center role, so to speak. Yeah. And I just think just give me even if it has to be 5 minutes, give me all out, because when he goes all out, he's unstoppable. We know that.
Every season we're talking about we just need one more piece, and then in the off season we give 2 pieces away, we only get one, and we're always looking for that one extra person, and this team needs to figure that out.
Yeah, I agree. I think listen, T, real quick, I think if people that I've talked to are saying take Al Horford out of the starting lineup.
But who are you going to replace him with?
That's the thing, and I'm looking at these names here. I don't want to mess with Korkmaz right now because I don't want to give him starting role. I mean, he's doing so well in his relief, in his backup role here, coming off the bench. I mean, I don't want to mess with that, because
he's got something to fight for still right now.
Okay.
I don't know if Thibault is ready to step up and take that starting spot yet. I have to see. I know Alec Burks and Glenn Robinson have both started with the Warriors this season based on the fact that how many injuries they have. So they've had starting experience this season. Right. So we'll see how they come in and play their role, and if they play well, when they come in here down the stretch of the season, maybe you consider putting them in, because Jay Rich, hopefully he'll get back his stamina, he'll get built back up, and he can step back into that 2-guard spot. But the one name that I guess, I can't believe I'm even saying this, that you could start at the 4 instead of Horford might be Mike Scott. I know he's had a pretty dreadful season so far, shooting the ball wise especially, but I think he just gives one thing that you can't take away from the guy is the effort he brings. I mean, he's always diving all over the court, diving for loose balls, playing good defense, and he's kind of one of those bodies where he's a stretch. He can kind of play the stretch forward because he's 6'9" and a power forward, and he's big enough to defend, bigger players on the other team. So I think, not saying I'm going to do it, I'm just trying to think, how do we get this starting lineup to progress?
Now, where's Kyle O'Quinn been? I know I'm not.
His wife had twins, so he was away from the team for personal reasons.
Oh. So, lost a strong back then, huh?
Okay. Yep. See?
What a great excuse.
Yeah. I didn't know when I said that months ago that was going to keep getting brought up.
Yeah. It's hilarious.
What are you going to do? What are you going to do? But I think the fact that Burks and Robinson are in here now, who loses playing time here? I think Neto will lose playing time. Pell probably lose some playing time. And I think Shake Milton is going to lose playing time as well when because Burks is a shooting guard, and I think Robinson's kind of a small forward / shooting guard. So I think when these guys get more incorporated in the Sixer type of offense and the defense that they play, I think Milton will lose some minutes, and we're looking at maybe a rotation of 9 to 10 guys.
You understand what I'm saying to you?
My thing is this, like, going back to what you said about, coaching and, having that father-son relationship. See, that's the thing. Like, with young players, I've always felt as though they need an old-school coach. Like, one of them old-school coaches that really don't care
They'll jump right on your back.
About your feelings. Listen here, I'm trying to bring the best out you, son. And the only way I'm going to bring the best out you, I'm going to stay on your ass. So, that being said, I'm not going to coddle these players. I'm not going to, all hug them and whatnot. Yeah, I don't care for that stuff. I'm going to beat the living crap out you to bring the best out you. And I think Brett Brown might be a little bit too soft for this young team.
I think he's too soft, too. And I throw that out there with the father-son relationship because everybody's kind of getting on Brett Brown, too. I mean, the fact that they're saying, he's not the right guy for this job, I'm not saying that it's the case, but I am going to say this. If Brett Brown loses in the second round 3 years in a row,
he's gone. He's gone.
I think
he got to go.
It's got to be time for him to go.
See you.
And I think that, Brett Brown could have easily been fired after that road trip. But, again, do you really want to have somebody else come in here and incorporate a whole new system halfway through the season when we're making a playoff push?
Well, no, you're not going to.
Sometimes it works.
Not halfway.
Well, no. You're not going to change up. I mean, it worked for Cleveland when they fired their coach and they brought in Tyronn Lue.
David Blatt, and they fired him and brought in Tyronn.
That worked for that situation, but they had LeBron, so that's an exceptional situation. But no, I'm not going to change coaches in the middle of a season. I'm going to ride out with Brett Brown, but best believe because this season has been underwhelming and I had certain expectations coming into the season, I expected my star players who were drafted here to take a step forward, and they didn't. I expected development out of my younger players, and they haven't. Markelle Fultz, who we traded, who now all of a sudden looks like a halfway decent player. Where's this coming back to? Coaching.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Brett Brown might have been good for the whole tanking experience that the Sixers went through, but now that we're trying to win, I think it's time to bring in an actual head coach that knows what
If
they're
the
doing.
case is we lose in the first round or lose in the second round this upcoming postseason,
He's got to go.
then he will be gone. But here's the thing. I believe what you said to you, a good point that you brought up with the whole LeBron factor with the Ty Lue thing. That's why it worked. But you're going to need a full off season with these two budding stars in Simmons and Embiid to get on the same page with this coach. And hopefully this coach, lights a fire under them, unlike Brett Brown, who, as we've seen with the public eye, coddles them a little bit, like you said. So one guy I want to throw out there, a lot of people are saying that he could be a name to possibly replace Brett Brown in the offseason is Mark Jackson, who kind of started the whole Klay Thompson Splash Brother thing with Steph Curry and then got fired, and then Steve Kerr took that dynasty and ran with it.
Yeah. Steve Kerr pretty much picked up, the
pieces, so to speak.
Yeah, it was no. They were whole pieces, whole beautiful pieces. Yes.
Sixers have a decent schedule coming up here. We got the Clippers tomorrow night at home, which I guess is at least it's at home, and then we got a big break with the All-Star break coming up, and then we're right back at it with the Milwaukee Bucks on the road again. So, hopefully we enjoy our time off here because listen, these guys, if you want to win, then you got to put the work in for it. You got to spend this break together. Brett Brown and the guys, they need to be in a gym somewhere, especially incorporating the new guys. Burks and Robinson, who, they're not big time names, but they need to be better. They need to be key shooters off the bench for us.
And if you're going to be listening to the media, you best believe that you better take that ammo and you better use it to your advantage. Don't be telling the fans to shush.
Milwaukee's playing insane, by the way. Chris, do you know Milwaukee's record?
47-7.
45 and 7.
45 and 7.
That was
Yep.
a very
Team
good
is
guess.
Seven losses. That's
not
it,
bad,
Chris.
Eddie.
Seven
Single digit losses, Chris.
You piece of Swiss
Absolutely.
cheese.
We're talking basketball, and they have singles.
Yes.
That's absolutely ridiculous.
All right, Giannis is just a freak of nature. All right, he's a problem.
It's really impressive, and the fact that here, look, Toronto loses Kawhi, and they're still the 2 seed right now.
Yeah,
in the East.
I don't understand that.
Yeah, the clip man. Yeah, and the Lakers are very underwhelming, which is kind of what I predicted. But I mean, they're still what
First seed?
sixth? No, I
In
believe
the
the
West.
Lakers.
The Lakers?
Yeah, the Lakers.
The
are
Lakers
in
are the
West.
first seed in the West.
They're the first seed.
Yeah, they're the
Yeah.
first seed in the West.
Yeah.
Not
about-
surprised. Not surprised.
Talk about underwhelming, T. Let's see it.
Shut up.
They're 39 and 12.
39 and 12. Yeah. Okay. So.
Okay, that's cute.
Well,
not going
the
nowhere.
fact is, T, like you said earlier in the show, they're not going to be NBA champions this year.
Nah.
But what in your mind would be a success as this season, draws closer to the end?
If you at least make it to the conference finals, which I think is at this point looks like like
Long shot.
Yeah.
That looks almost as hard as
But if
getting all
you
the way to
even
the finals.
if you even sniff the conference finals, I'll be shocked.
So if you say we get to the conference finals and play whoever we play, it doesn't really matter.
Nah,
if
we'll
we can get to the conference finals, what do you do with Brett Brown?
No, I think right now this is just Brett Brown trying out for another team.
It's
honestly.
possible. So regardless, he's gone.
Regardless.
Yeah,
I-
regardless, he's
Unless he
gone,
wins the NBA championship.
which is
Knock
so
up.
far fetched.
yeah.
But if he wins a championship, it's far fetched. But if he wins, hell, he's going to stay here.
The chances of him winning an NBA Finals at this point is the same chances as me getting signed to the Philadelphia Eagles. It just ain't happening.
All
I'm
right, see, I
just
think
saying.
I don't know. Sure.
Yeah, you never know,
But
T.
you're right. You're right. You never know with the Sixers, not with T.
I mean,
Unless I would
apparently they're
like,
having a walk-on tryout in a few weeks.
Man, look, I'm too old, man. I'm out
Too
of shape.
old, T.
Jesus, guy.
I'm out of shape. I didn't listen. I didn't.
It's all right.
Nope.
What the hell is going on?
I'm done.
All right. Well, so we'll check back. This team has the All-Star break coming up, so we're gonna talk. We'll talk next week. Talk about the Clippers game, and hopefully, when this thing is all said and done, especially after this All-Star break specifically, maybe they go on a stretch run here. Maybe we'll
Maybe.
see. I do think some changes need to be made, and if Al Horford continues to struggle like he has been, you got to consider moving him to the bench. I know he's getting paid a lot of money, but you need some more. You need some more shooters out there, and he just simply hasn't been able to knock down 3-point shots this year.
I think in terms of this is just my vote. If you are going to move Al Horford to the bench, this is just my vote, and this may be premature, and maybe he might be a little too young, like you said. But I would put Matisse Thybulle into that starting position.
You think Tease is ready for that role?
from a defensive standpoint, from what he's shown me,
I don't think he contributes enough offensively to earn big time minutes.
Well, he's a 3-and-D type of player. Like he's not a Furkman Korkmaz where he's gonna just take the ball and he's gonna
Right.
handle the ball, he's
And
gonna
knock
shoot the
down
ball
shot,
with free
yeah.
will. That's not his job. That's not
Exactly.
gonna be his role. His role is gonna be to stand in the corner and if you're open, shoot that 3
Mm-hmm.
and to lock down whoever we put you up on for that night.
Mm-hmm.
That's his job. And that is one of the things where this team does still need help with is on the defensive side of the ball.
I don't disagree. I think if you stagger the minutes correctly and if you put Matisse in the starting lineup, you're not going to give him the 30
No.
minutes. You're not going to give him maybe not even 20, 25 minutes.
You might give him 22.
You might
23,
give him 20
something like
minutes.
that.
You might give him 20 minutes, right? You might. But if you stagger the minutes well, as far as incorporating other bench guys,
Right.
and not burn him, for 25 minutes a game,
Right.
then I like what you're saying there. I think it's a good idea. For example, last night Shake Milton started at the 2 guard. He only played 13 minutes, and there was 4 guys off the bench that played more minutes than him.
Yep.
So I don't disagree, and I also think it could be a good idea just to have Horford come off the bench as a 6 man, as a veteran guy, knows his role now down the stretch.
Agreed.
And when you put him in there in the playoffs, he can defend and play well on the opposing big of the other team, and also spell Joel Embiid when he needs it.
Ooh, yeah!
Again, like I said earlier, can I get a good 5-minute productive run from Embiid? Just all out, and then here comes Horford in for you for the end of the quarter.
Yep. That's all I need.
That's all I
out
really
of
need.
Embiid, man. Like I need to see that
Run
effort.
the floor. He doesn't run the floor. He kind of waddles like a penguin. He just doesn't run the floor. I'm yelling at him in the crowd, run the floor, and he's not listening.
That's
He's
funny.
slow, man. He just doesn't play with a lot of energy. the only time he gets up is if it's first of all, it has to be home game. He's not going to get up for a big game on the road. If you're playing the Lakers, the Clippers tomorrow night on national television at home, fine. I'll go off and be great. But when we're playing the Bulls at home, I'm not going to give that all that kind of energy.
Bunch of low
Just going to keep shushing the crowd every time I make a big basket. Whatever. I'm all Sixered out for the day here. Let's transition.
All right, let's go.
I want to just bring up this Phillies possibly trading for Chris Bryant rumor that's going around town. Scott Kingery's been rumored in this deal.
Bless you.
And, Scott Kingery's been rumored in this deal, and I'm not 100% sure I want to part with him, Chris.
No.
Great utility.
No.
You don't?
No.
Yeah,
I don't
know
want.
either.
I feel. Look, I might be wrong, but I feel like Chris Bryant's glory days are behind him.
Well,
Look, I'm not because that's also going to include Alec Boehm. That's what I see.
Yes, definitely would include that.
No, I'm not giving up Alec Boehm, and maybe even Spencer Howard.
No.
As
we need pitching. We don't have any pitching. We need pitching.
Yeah.
I know.
We're on the same page here.
I'm telling you. I'm just telling you what the Cubs are going to go. We want that. We want that. For our big Chris Bryant here, we want that and that and that. And no, I don't want Chris Bryant here. I don't want him here. I don't want him here.
So
I think we're all on the same
here
page here.
is my thing about this.
What's your thing about this?
I'm not saying trade Scott Kingery.
Please don't.
But here's my one thing. Scott Kingery, as of right now, is probably your third baseman. And we've been to enough games and we've seen enough games. Scott Kingery just doesn't have the defensive skills or the arm strength, like you just mentioned, to play third base at an everyday role. Okay, he was decent at it last year because he didn't have to play third every game. You had Franco there for a little bit. It was terrible. But here's the thing. You put him in there as your everyday third baseman, I think you're going to have a serious problem.
You just wait a year. You got a solid third baseman coming up soon. Just wait.
But can we wait another year?
Just wait
though?
a damn year.
Chris,
That's the damn problem. You can't wait in this damn city.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think you know these Phillies fans.
No. We don't wait here in Philadelphia.
Maybe I have a cooler head about it. Even though I'm the one. I'm
you're
trying
yelling
to
right
tell
now.
you guys.
We want winners, damn it.
Patience is a virtue, all right?
If you come out and say, as a GM, and say, listen, Phillies fans,
We're going to wait a year.
we're going to wait another year. The last thing they
Look
want to
at
do
this
is...
guy I drafted for you. Give him a sec.
I think he definitely considered a Chris Bryant deal, depending on who's
God.
included. Because here's the thing. You get Kutch and Bryce, then you get Bryant, you have Didi, you have Kingery at second, depending on if you trade him or not. Hoskins, re-sign Real Muto.
You see,
Boom, baby, we're in business. Now we
See,
just
you're
gotta
just
figure out-
saying
Look,
names,
if-
though. We don't know how they're going to play.
Exactly.
Look,
Well, they're all,
Max,
What did I keep saying?
What about your
last
boy Reese?
Max, okay, if
gonna
my
be better.
arm is getting twisted into a deal and I have to make a deal, I'm starting with Reese Hoskins.
You're going to trade Reese Hoskins,
Yeah.
who's going to play first base.
Stick some dude over there.
Dumb dude, who?
Some dude.
Hey, guy outside, can you hear me? You want to play first base? You want to play first
Some
base for the
dude.
Phillies? Get out there, play first base for the Phillies. We're trading Reese Hoskins.
You know
understand
what?
what I'm saying
Have you
to
ever
you?
seen Moneyball? You know
Yes.
his name's Scott Hatterberg?
Yes.
Yeah, look, I know he was a catcher. Hey, stick him at first
Hey,
base.
Chris.
All you gotta do is catch the damn ball.
Hey, Chris.
What?
That was a movie.
It was a great movie. Hey,
it was
based off
a real
thing.
story. Yeah, I
Based off a
agree.
real
But,
thing.
Chris Pratt's not going to come
How
over
about this
here and
guy?
play
Hey,
first.
sir, do you want to play first base for the Phillies?
He's hustling
Can
over
you
here.
catch a ball sometimes?
We're recruiting people from outside the studio.
Well, we're trading Reese Hoskins, so we better
Yeah.
start now.
We are breaking
I'm
the
not-
fourth wall.
I'm not trading Spencer Howard. I'm not trading Alec Boehm. I'm not trading Scott Kingery. I don't want to trade Reese Hoskins.
Alec Boehm is the player you hope turns into B. Chris Bryant.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you trade Alec Boehm in a deal?
Oh,
Because
geez.
you get what you wanted in the first place.
But you
Because
get
is Chris Bryant still Chris Bryant?
He's still young. He's wow. Let me get on this right now.
Look,
30.
all I'm saying is I'm going to bring
What
up,
is he, 27?
I'm gonna bring up
27, 28?
28 years old.
28.
I'm going to bring up something that I said last
He's
year
got-
to you,
in
Max.
his prime.
He's got a solid 2-3 years left, maybe.
Max, last year was
Alec
a,
Boehm is what, 20?
Elite third basemen are different. He doesn't have to be running
But
all
Max-
around the outfield.
Max, last year was a prime example of what I said last year, that you cannot just throw superstars together and hope for a miracle. 'Cause that's
Bryce,
exactly
Bryce
what
and
we
Chris
did
Bryant are tight
last
fellas.
year.
What? He was MVP, 3 seasons ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 seasons ago.
Okay. It's not that It's not that long ago.
3 seasons ago. Look, I know.
Chris Bryant's the only player ever to be minor league player of the year, then NL Rookie of the Year, and then MVP.
Hey, you want to know what all those things have in common? They're in the past.
They are in the past.
Quit
I
yucking
agree
my
with
yum.
that. But here's the one thing. Here's my point.
I'm concerned about the 2020, 2021, 2022 Phillies.
We all know we don't have the pitching to compete with the other powerhouses in the league. So
No, we
here's the
don't.
thing. We just got to outslug everybody else. You add Chris Bryant to the lineup.
Yeah, we tried to outslug everybody else last year.
Look what
Hold
happened.
on,
Look
hold on.
where
We,
it put
we
us.
ran into a couple of injuries. Reese really let us down. Kutch tears his ACL. Herrera beats this girl up or whatever. So
Wow! We're just gonna make light of that situation.
well, hey, look, it's the truth.
What's
It's
the matter with
truth.
you?
Listen, it's the truth. That's what happened. We were hoping he'd be our center fielder every day.
What is the matter
He's
with
out
you?
there.
Piece of Swiss cheese.
Doing things he shouldn't be doing.
You can't just say stuff like you.
That's,
Yo, man.
that's 3 starters. That's 3 starters that should have been playing every day for us, and we couldn't rely on them to
Look,
produce.
Odubel was running on fumes anyway.
If we add Bryant to the lineup, we signed Deidre Gregorius. For some reason, we haven't signed Real Muto, but we'll re-sign JT. Hoskins need to step up. And look where we're at. Bryce in the middle of that lineup. That is a powerhouse lineup. That is like the Braves lineup last year.
Okay, look, I know I'm trying to like fit square pegs in round holes here. Like, what's the big deal about? Can we just put Segura at third, maybe?
Hey, that's what I was saying earlier.
Just stick Kingery at second.
Couple months ago.
So this
Darren,
is
you're on to something.
so if we don't make a trade, this is how it's going to be: Kutch, and then what? Hazley everyday center fielder,
Oh, Jesus.
Bryce and right, and then what? You have Segura, Gregorius, Kingery at
Say
second.
this slower, dude. It's late.
Kutch in left,
Thank you.
everyday left fielder.
'Kay.
I don't care how old he is.
That's
He's
cool.
your everyday left
That's
fielder.
cool.
Your everyday center fielder, because Herrera's not
As
coming back,
Adam
is
Hazley.
Adam Hazley.
Dude, I mean, he's going to bat like
We're going to
eighth
get
all
some
year,
other guys
but
out there. And
I think
It's an
Hazley can
outrage.
hang. I think Hazley can hang in the big
Roman
leagues.
Quinn, possibly platoon out there in center field.
always
I don't know
injured.
why I'm saying that.
Roman
actually.
Quinn is injury prone.
And then
that's
some
true.
guy named Bryce
I
Harper in
hear
right
you.
field.
Bryce and right.
Yeah, that guy can't
All
strike
right,
a ball.
and then what? You're saying go six? You're saying he played well defensively last year.
Yeah.
He was
like,
a
why you
finalist.
at the end
He was a
at the
finalist
end
for
of
the
the,
Gold
at
Glove.
the end of the season.
Tanner went on a whole rant based off of
He
Bryce
was
Harper.
the top 3 finalists in Gold Glover last year. So give him a break. All right.
Look, Max, don't deny that part of that is
Whatever.
because of his
It's
name.
stupid.
I mean, this guy's
But-
got a poster, and he's going to get a tattoo of Bryce Harper soon.
All right, relax. Let's not go overboard here. Let's not go overboard.
Dumbass.
Okay, call me crazy, but if you can manage to play shortstop at a level that's acceptable, don't you think he can handle third base?
You talking about Gene?
Yes.
We know it's hard.
You said he would.
I think. Listen, if I have to pick between Kingery and Segura at third base, I'm probably going to pick Segura.
Yeah.
I think he's better fit for
We
the third
don't
base.
need Chris Bryant.
No, we don't need him, but I mean,
Okay.
crap ass Vargas.
Hey, let's bring him back.
Jeez, cut that one. You're not gonna hear that one again. Not gonna hear me say that ever again.
Hey, we might as well just put Vince Velasquez in center field if we
There
have a
you
problem
go.
with
Dude,
that.
hey, guy's got a cannon.
Scott King will play every day.
Guy's got-
Second base.
Hey,
Jake.
can you play first base?
I don't know.
We'll have to look
there's
into that.
somebody walking by right now. So I'll keep you updated. on
We're
that.
still breaking the 4th damn wall around this place.
But-
This man really wants to trade Reese Hoskins. Why?
I said if I was forced to trade for Chris Bryant, it's starting with Reese Hoskins.
the
Who's
only
forcing you?
Some
The
dude.
fans.
the only way I'm trading Reese Hoskins is I get some unbelievable pitcher in return. That's the only way I'm moving a Reese
Oh,
Hoskins.
no. Your return is Chris Bryant, you know, with all the
But I need
accolades
more than
that
Chris Bryant if I'm giving up a Reese
Didn't
Hoskins.
you hear everything that he got from Max here?
Let me tell you something right now. If you go for your starting rotation, you go Aaron Nola, then you go Zach Wheeler, number 2. Arrieta with his bounce back season, hopefully, and put air quotes around that. Hopefully, Arrieta bounces back as a number 3 starter. But you still have Eflin, and then you don't even have a number 5 starter. Who's going to be your 5th starter?
Did
Nick
you say Vince
Pivetta?
Velasquez already?
Vince Velasquez, I'd rather have him the bullpen. I don't want him as
Oh,
a 5th
don't get
starter.
me wrong. He'd be great in the bullpen.
The only
But-
reason he is the 5th starter is because we don't have another option, which is what we need. We should have went out and signed another pitcher.
I mean, how far is... no. No.
We're running into the same issues that we had last year with your scenario. The same damn issues.
Oh, don't... it's not Max's fault. Chill. But...
Here's the problem. You want to add on to the problems that we have in Philly sports? We still don't have any bullpen help. I mean, listen, there's so many question marks. Sir Anthony, is his elbow okay?
I think Sir Anthony's going to bounce back.
Hopefully. I think he's our closer because we all know, T especially, we don't want Hector Neris closing.
God, no. Oh, my God,
He
no.
wasn't that
We
bad
want
last
Sir
year.
Anthony closing.
Don't get me wrong. Yeah.
He's got the best arm. And listen, Robertson, we just basically, what do we blow like $15 million on him?
You know what I'd rather do? I'd rather rake leaves than to watch Hector Neris be the closer for the Philadelphia Phillies. All right?
Tell you the truth,
that
Max.
bored, huh?
Last time I saw Robertson, he was saying hi to us at the Phillies stadium and not playing.
Yeah,
So that's
he's
what
not
I
going to be.
remember
He had
from
Tommy
him.
John surgery. He's not going to play this year probably at all.
That's all I'm saying.
Great.
So well, at least we have Adam Morgan out there to help us out.
Yeah.
Hey, he wasn't that bad. He wasn't that bad.
He wasn't that bad. You're right. He actually wasn't that bad. He's one of our better relievers, and that's saying something. That's how bad our bullpen is.
Yes. Think about this
Jose
for a minute,
Alvarez
fellas.
too.
Here's the
We got
one
him.
good piece of good news I will say to you guys. We have Joe Girardi, who knows what he's doing.
Hey, you're not wrong.
Yeah,
All
that's
right,
true.
he knows how
Not
to work
wrong.
the lineup. He's not going to have Bryce Harper hitting leadoff. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, God.
Bryce Harper will not hit leadoff. Freaking ridiculous. Kepler last year hitting
I'm sick
leadoff.
of this.
He only did that like once or twice.
It's my problem. Like you can't. It's not. That's not how it's supposed to be. And
No.
and Girardi knows how to work a rotation, and he knows how to work a bullpen. He just needs the right guys to do it. That's all.
Does he have a World Series? I'm drawing
As a
blank.
manager,
Yes, as a
yeah,
manager.
he beat us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah, remember that series?
Yeah, I do.
He has
forgot-
some as a
I-
player too.
I-
He's got as a player and as a manager.
I forgot he was the.
Yep.
Come on, man.
Look, I knew he was on managing the Yankees.
Hey, man, do me a favor.
It's late.
Stay off the weed.
I can turn that off. You know?
All right, before we move on here, T or Tanner, anything else on the Phils or anything else you guys want to get to before I dive into a little Flyers talk with Chris?
Well, I wanted to bring up the Mookie Betts stuff.
Go
too.
ahead, Mookie Betts. Go right ahead.
Okay, so Mookie Betts is going to the Dodgers, and here's everything that the Dodgers are getting in exchange for Mookie Betts: outfielder Alex Verdugo.
Okay.
I've heard the name.
Good player.
Yeah.
He could be our everyday center fielder if he wants to come to the Phillies.
Shortstop prospect Jeter Downs.
What a name!
I know, what a great name.
I wish my name was Jeter Downs.
Jeter
I
Downs.
bet you do.
That is something cool, T.
Yeah, I bet you would.
And
You damn Cowboys fan.
How about
And-
Jeter, the best shortstop ever?
Just change his name
you
to
piece
Bryce
of Swiss
Jeter.
cheese. And catcher/infielder prospect Connor Wong.
Okay.
That's what they are getting for Mookie Betts, or that's what the Red Sox are getting in exchange for Mookie Betts.
For a second, we thought it wasn't going to go through.
No, I know.
We thought
It
something was
It
happening.
was really weird.
Well, here's another thing. They're going to get David Price as well. The Dodgers I'm talking about. And half of his salary is going to get paid off.
To the Dodgers.
So
Three
they're gonna
teams
be a
I look
problem.
at as by far powerhouses above the rest of the league this year. I'll start with the Yankees, and then I'll go Dodgers, and then I'll throw in the Twins because the Twins get Donaldson. They're trading for or signing Rich Hill. They're trading for Kenta Maeda. They're just throwing guys in there.
The Twins backed out of that the first deal, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but then they get Kenta Maeda. That's what I just mentioned.
Yeah.
The reliever that was going to be traded, and as far as I can tell, he's still with the Twins organization. His name is Brastar Gatrell, and that's the guy I was telling you about. Who?
What position?
He's a relief pitcher.
Okay.
The Red Sox backed out of it because he would have been going to the Red Sox, but the Red Sox were concerned about his injury history. He had Tommy John surgery in 2016, and he had some quote shoulder problems in 2019.
Is it me or is Yankees Dodgers World Series inevitable?
Yankees, Dodgers.
Look at these rosters compared to the rest of the league.
Oh yeah, that would be your dream World Series.
They got
There's going to be a
They
team
got-
that's
man,
surprised.
you. Yeah, that's
They
why
got-
you're sitting over there laughing and
T.
smiling.
T. Tell me I'm wrong though. Tell me I'm wrong.
No one was talking about the Nationals at this time last year.
True. That is very true.
That's another team that apparently is in on Chris Bryant, which if that becomes a thing,
All I'm saying is if Dodgers Yankees happen, Max is going to be the only one there, like at every damn game, front row. You're just going to see him with a big ass sign. Just
you know what? I'm not a huge Dodgers fan, but after they got screwed out of 2 World Series from 2 teams that were cheating, I feel like they kind of deserve one. They went there back to back, but
yeah.
I don't know. That's just me.
I'm just saying.
You're just saying.
Damn Cowboys fan.
Yeah. Hey, you're talking football, right?
Hell yeah.
We're supposed to be in the off season, but I watched some football a couple days ago. The XFL.
I did peep that a little bit.
Here we
Yeah.
go. You two with the XFL.
you
man.
doggone right.
Let's go DC Defenders.
Jeez.
That's my team.
Dog-
Cordell
I saw
Jones.
I saw 4 and out, 4 and out, 4 and out, 4 and out. I'm like, I'm bored.
I'd say one of the most interesting
Have you
things
seen their
I've
kickoffs?
seen. Yes, their kickoffs are very interesting.
What are they? 10 yards apart? 5 yards apart. Or
Yeah,
something like
5
that.
yards apart.
Yeah.
Like, that is so awesome to me.
The ball has
do
to
that
pass the 30.
Yes. Like, it's an automatic
Jeez.
return. Like, and then one of the cooler things I've seen, so I forgot what happened. I think one of the quarterbacks had thrown an interception. So he walks off the field,
Shocker.
and the interviewer was right there in his face. And he's just like, interview's like, so what happened out there? And the guy was like, guy drops an F-bomb right there on live television, ABC. And I'm just like, dude, this is awesome.
That's the
This is
XFL.
awesome. When you catch players in the moment like that, man.
Yeah, I like.
Reporters
see.
doing their damn
Yeah.
job.
I like how you can hear what the coach is saying to the players and what the players are saying on the field.
Yes.
And there's a lot more action in the XFL now. You know how in the NFL it's getting a little more soft. And,
A little?
Yeah. DC Defenders got Cordell Jones,
Yeah.
and he went 16 for 26, 291 yards with 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive.
It was an interesting game to watch.
The reason,
It was.
The reason they
Now
kick
let's see
off,
if they don't flop.
The reason they
midway
kick off
through the
like
season.
that is to prevent injury, apparently.
Yeah.
So
All I'm saying is I think that the NFL should adopt
Adopt
not all, but some, just some of the concepts that the XFL is offering. And at least, and even if they are, and I think the NFL should invest in some kind of a relationship with the XFL and make it almost as if like a minor league.
Well, this is why just like what was the other league?
the problem is, I don't know if a minor league.
I know what you're talking
I don't
about,
know
but
if a
I can't
minor
think
league
of the
would
name.
work with football specifically, unless the teams are using the same exact systems. Both coaches of the NFL
Well, here's the
team
problem with
and
that.
the minor league
There-
team are on the same page.
I agree with you, but there's only 8 teams in this new thing
No,
that they're
yeah,
doing, and
yeah.
there's 30. I mean, it's just I don't know
a
how to.
lot of money would need to be poured into it. A
Yeah.
lot.
Oh, of course it would.
Vince McMahon was running this thing through his own pockets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy.
Hey man, he got crazy money.
I know he does, but I
Thank
mean,
you to the
think,
WWE.
Imagine-
think about all the money this is costing, the uniforms, the TV ratings, the traveling. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
All I got
Even
to-
Johnny Manziel didn't want to play for the XFL.
Oh,
Which is
okay.
crazy.
Anybody? Can somebody pull up the ratings real fast and see how they
They
did?
I think I heard they had like 3 million viewers.
So they had a decent amount.
They
of
had
Yeah.
a lot of people in those stands. I'll tell
Yeah.
you that.
They
I
had
don't
a
know if
decent-
they.
They had a decent first day ratings.
In
Like, seriously.
2001, they had 14 million viewers. And I don't know about
That was
this year.
that was
I'll
around
look
the
for you.
attitude.
I'll tell you
era.
who played well. P.J. Walker, former Temple quarterback for the Houston,
Yes.
whoever the XFL team is down there.
The Houston whoever.
Roughnecks.
The Houston Roughnecks.
Yeah,
The
which,
Houston Roughnecks. Shout out my boy P.J. Walker. The quarterback of the Roughnecks. Bunch of low lifes.
All I'm saying is, man, the XFL, I think it has potential, and I really do hope it
The
succeeds.
league
I
got
really do.
canceled once before.
Yeah, I know, but I hope
Well,
it succeeds
see,
this time.
we shall see. But unlike, I'm going to compare this to the
3.3
hockey
million
talk.
viewers on ABC.
We're gonna cut this in half,
I like
and we're gonna
this.
go. We're gonna fly.
We have a
this,
hockey team?
and we're gonna go
Let's talk,
XFL.
I didn't know that.
And the audience is gonna have to decide
Doesn't their mascot hit
who they
You know
want.
what?
Who they want to
Apparently
listen to.
Hey,
who they want to
the
listen to.
mascot
Nobody cares about hockey, man.
Scot free. Didn't do it. If the mascot really assaulted your kid, why would you go to a chiropractor and not a real doctor? You go to quit yucking my yum.
Free Gritty.
Gritty is free.
Yeah,
hey,
he got it.
he got off. He's good. And he's still doing crazy things like throwing cakes in people's faces and
He does what he
mooning
wants.
people.
Yes.
That's why he represents Philly fans.
He
Yes.
does.
Yes, he does.
No one better than that. No, but no.
All right,
hey,
guys, let's
they're
hear how the
pretty good.
Flyers are doing.
Yeah,
Hey,
we
they're
got a
actually-
couple minutes.
They're actually doing pretty solid, even though they are outside the playoff spot.
Carter Hart is gonna return tonight.
Carter Hart's
Chris.
returning tonight. He has a mask. He painted a new mask in honor of Ray Emery, who passed away last year. So he's going to be wearing that. They got huge games coming up. 2 against the Florida Panthers, who are directly behind them in the standings. They got a game against the Islanders tomorrow, who's ahead of them. And then they got 2 games against Columbus next week.
The 2 against Columbus is what I have circled.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's gonna
Oh,
be
yeah,
they're ahead of
because-
us. and those are going to be 2 big games.
And if they lose all of those games, then yeah, stick a fork in them. They're done.
I feel like every year we're in the
He's
same
not your
position,
cup
and
of
it's
tea.
like there's Columbus, Florida, all these different little teams. We're all leapfrogging.
Florida and Columbus
us.
used to be bottom of the league.
I know, but they're all jockeying for position, and
Oh,
we're always the odd team out. It feels like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
Like, why can't we just? And I'm looking at the standings every day. They change so fast and quickly because everybody's like 1 point apart from each other. Why can't we just be that one team like Pittsburgh who's always like 7 points ahead? They're always like 7, 8 points ahead.
You want to know
of
why we're not Pittsburgh? Because when they suck, they suck. No one shows up. They're going to go into bankruptcy, and then suddenly they get the greatest player of all time, and then the cycle keeps going.
Yep.
Mario Lemieux, and then he retires. Oh, they suck again. No one's coming to the game.
not putting
And then they
up.
get
It's too much horse. It's too much.
Sidney Crosby and then Evgeny Malkin, and they pull players out of their butts like Jake Gensel and Connor Sheary and Zach Aston Reese, and they all turn into decent players because they play with the best player in the goddamn world.
Yeah.
Wow.
No.
What's the matter with you?
No,
I want to see people rip their heart out of their
He's right
chest.
about that. And Chris, I will be tuned in tonight. Chris, are you watching the game tonight?
Yeah, of course.
I'm tuned in.
Yes.
If the greatest quarterback in the world tells you, hey, run this route and just put your hands out and the ball will land in your damn hands,
Yeah.
you're probably going to catch it.
Well,
and it's going to make you look great, right?
He did, but Nelson Aguilar didn't do it.
All right. Before we shut down the show, I just want to ask this person walking up if she wants to play first base for the Phillies. Because we still need a first baseman because we're going to trade Reese Hoskins.
For Chris Bryant. Hey, maybe you can put Chris Bryant at first.
All right, T, let's shut
And
it
then,
down.
then who's going to play third?
Oh, gosh.
Say your thing, T.
If you guys missed any of this episode, you can always go to Philly-Experience. That's simplecast.com. We're available on all major platforms: Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and more.
Tune in.
Yes.
All right.
That was funny. Are we recruiting? Is there anybody else outside we can recruit for the Philadelphia Phillies first
You
baseman
okay,
spot?
Tanner? It looked like you almost tripped there.
No, we can't recruit Tanner. I don't know that much. It's too sloppy.
Hey, all you got to do is stand at first base and catch the damn ball.
Boots to asses.
But they aren't who we thought they were.
Kind of circumcising the mosquito.
Get your facts straight.
Give me a green right slot, Spider 2Y banana.
It's funny to me too.